Hey everyone, Eggman here with a very timely video. Yes, it's reviewing the blue and yellow cards from set 7. Man, I hope no one else has done this yet. I hope I'm the first one to do it. No. I am definitely like the last person to do this. These came out like almost a month ago. But here we go. We're gonna just talk about the blue and yellow ones today, and then on the next video that I do, then I'm going to talk about the red and green cards from the next set. But I'm really excited about all this. It just didn't work out, and now it does. So here we go. It's about time. So looking at leaders for the blue stuff, we've got first this new Goku Black and Zamasu, which just in general, the fact that there's a new leader for this archetype is fantastic. It's kind of what it's needed. I'm not sure if this is the best leader for it, but it's just another leader for the archetype, and just the fact that it's an untapped one makes all the difference in a lot of scenarios. So, all right. When this card attacks, look at the top 5 cards from your deck. Choose up to one blue or yellow Goku Black or Zamasu card among them, add them to your hand, then shelf your deck. All right, cool. Being able to draw one on attack, really good. The other ones were kind of not so good at doing that. They're set 2 leaders. Gaining advantage on the front side was never really a thing, but I mean, like, they were all right. But and then on the awakened side, so a lot of these leaders have a lot of unique awakening abilities, which I think is really cool. It's actually specifically what I've asked for in some of those questionnaires, so I feel like they're listening to me, even though they probably not. But so when your opponent has 3 or more energy, you may draw one card, then choose up to one of your energy, switch to active mode, and flip this card over. So that's really cool. The fact that, and then on the awakened side, so same thing with top 5 for Goku and Zamasu. But also when this card attacks leader card, this gains minus 5k power for the duration of the turn. So that's fine. You can pretty much you can awaken with this leader really early. So I think it's trying to balance it in that way, but also you're not trying to hit your opponent down with your leader. You're just trying to just gain value and then use its some alternative ways to win with this leader too. So active main one's turn. If your opponent has 8 or more energy, choose up to 4 cards from your opponent's life, place them at the bottom of their deck in any order. That sounds like a lot, but it's not when you consider the other cards in this deck. So that's a neat win condition. I like when the win conditions are kind of built into the leaders. I think they make them really powerful. And then also active main one's turn. For 1 energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, return it to the owner's hand. That's fantastic. I think it does a lot. Just the fact that you can use this with like Beerus, and then for 3 energy you can get rid of any barrier thing. That can be a really good tech option, that kind of stuff. So non bad. I'm gonna say it's not bad as an ability, and I think it will see some play in that. Just this fact you can just use 1 energy to get rid of. There's no energy cost restriction too, which is crazy. Putting cards back in your opponent's hand is probably like the worst form of removal in this game, but I think it's still good. So, and you're not losing any advantage. You're just using 1 mana. You're not using any, or you're only using 1 energy. You're not using any cards for it. So, very interesting leader. I think it's going to see a lot of experimentation, and just with all the Goku Black and Zamasu support with the anniversary box and this set as well, I think there will be a lot of experimentation with this. So there's that, and then there's also aptly Son Goku and Vegeta. So permanently, if your life is 4 or less, this card gains plus 5k power during your opponent's turn. So that's really neat. When this card attacks, draw 1. So you're always when you're at 4 or less. So the reason that it's like this is because its awakening ability. Like the really big thing you want to do is an active main. So active main, if you have 4 or more cards in your energy, choose up to 1 Son Goku and 1 yellow Vegeta card in your hand with energy cost 2 or less and play them. And you can only play Trunks, Future, and Vegito cards for duration of the turn, and you can't activate the skill for duration of the game. So pretty much the idea is that you play this when you have 4 or more, but it also means that you're not awakening until later, perhaps, because you really want to use this ability. So that's why that permanent makes a lot of sense. And then it's just a draw 1 and flip it over, which is fine because active main does a lot from there. And then still, you get a draw card when you attack, and also once per turn when you combo with 1 or more battle cards with a combo cost of 1 in your energy area using a skill. Choose up to one of those battle cards choose up to one of those battle cards, and when the battle ends, the chosen card is returned to the owner's hand instead of being placed in the drop area. All right. Long story short, there are ways to combo from your energy, and if you use 1 cost stuff, then you get them back in your hand. That's pretty much it. It's kind of dumb. It doesn't really do too much. I mean, it gets some card advantage and helps you go in for the kill, but the kind of like the inverse of this leader is that the win condition is definitely not in this leader. This leader doesn't really do too much. The active main, being able to just play them for free is fantastic. But I think the let's see. I'm gonna look it up real quick. The new like the red for cheat. Oh, that's why. Let's see. Does it choose only red? Yeah, choose up to one Son Goku card and one Vegeta card in your drop, check or drop. With energy cost 2 or less, negate their skills and play them in rest mode. So you can just pretty much do that active main on this guy. You have to drop a card and pay 1 energy, but you get a slightly better lead. And I guess you can't do that on this side of it. You have to be awakened for that to happen. So I guess, I don't know, that's kind of weird for that, kind of awkward, but not too bad. I don't know, just having it, not being able to awaken before turn 4 with this leader can be kind of upsetting sometimes, but I think it's all right. So we'll see. I'm not super thrilled about this leader. I haven't personally tried the blue yellow Vegito stuff, so maybe it's really good. But this leader definitely is not a good first impression for me on that. That's it for the blue leaders. Let's go to the yellow. So we've got Khalifa and Kale. So when this card attacks, draw 1. Attacks a leader card, draw 1. And then also activate when you have 3 more energy, choose up to 1 blue Kale and 1 yellow Khalifa with energy cost 2 or less from your hand, play them, and then negate the skill for duration of the game. And then when your life is at 4 or less, you may draw 1 card and flip this card over. So very similar to the Goku and Vegeta one, but I think this one's slightly better because it's a turn earlier. And I just think it's, but you got to play him from your hand. Is this from the hand? Yeah, it's from your hand. Dang, you'd think it could be more flexible if you're waiting so long to do it, but. Also, so this is only draw 1, but you technically get to play 4 energy worth of stuff for free, so that's why you don't get any untap or anything like that. And then when this card attacks on the awakened side, draw 1, then choose 1 Universe 6 card in your battle area, and both this card and the chosen card is plus 5k powered for duration of the turn. So, once again, this leader's kind of meh. The fact that this active main is really the big thing for it. It enables just a really burst turn, and then from there, you just get you still get to put some pressure. An extra 10k of combo power isn't something to scoff at. It's just once you're awakened, you're just pretty much just gaining value, and that's about it. So there's that, and then there's hit. Probably of the all 4 leaders that I just went over, I think this one's probably has the most potential. So activate once per turn, choose 1 card in your life. Like already done. Like being able to get cards from your life on your leader is so good a lot of the time. We see so many leaders that have this ability that just instantly get an advantage on everyone else. But even if it was just that, this leader would be great. But additionally, choose up to 1 blue or yellow Universe 6 card advantage cost of 1 in your hand and play it. So you get to normally when these active mains thing, choose 1 card in your life, you get to like draw a card. But this is the first time I've seen that you take a card from your life and you get to cheat stuff out from energy. So and just in general, a lot of these cards, I feel like they balance out card draw and being able to cheat out energy still. Like it's not like draw 2 or untap 2. It's draw 1, but also be able to play 3 mana stuff for free. So like I think that's a really cool balance, and it's gonna. I really do like that. I think it makes it more flexible and unique in that sense. But anyways, so you get to play a free Universe 6 card and then Self Awaken, which is nuts, and then. Let's see, 4 or less. This is also a draw 1 and untap 1, which is crazy. And then when this card attacks, draw 1. Also, you don't have to attack with this guy to get any value, so you can just kind of sit and then just awaken yourself while your opponent has to awaken themselves to keep up with card advantage, that kind of stuff. That's kind of silly. But when this card attacks, draw 1, and then when your opponent's leader card flips to its front, choose up to 1 blue or yellow Universe 6 card in your drop area with any cost of 3 or less and play it. There are a lot of targets for this, and a lot of them do things when they get played, so that's non-trivial in a lot of ways. And then also active main once per turn, choose 1 card in your hand, place your drop area, choose up to 1 blue or yellow Universe 6 card in your hand with energy cost 2 or less and play it. So just being able to trade card advantage for mana, or for energy, I keep saying mana today, is also a really good trade, and I think just a little bit too good of a trade, to be honest. Being able to play a 2-drop for essentially free is pretty crazy. So, and there's a lot of combos with this. So I think hits the crowd favorite, coming out of the gates. I think this one's probably the best of the 4 leaders, but we've got a lot of time for that. So I'd say, so looking at the blue and yellow stuff, I'd say that the blue and yellow are more just generically good for the 3 archetypes that exist. They're pretty strong archetypes, and they're pretty resolute in what's in there. There's not a lot of like wiggle room for just like generic cards, but there are a couple of generic cards. So let's just go all the way through. There's not actually that too much, all too easy. So this is kind of the new breed of counterattacks. I think I'm just going to do one of these per video, but so if your leader card is blue, negate the attack, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with any cost of 1 and return it to his owner's hand. So that's kind of okay. To be honest, like normally they want those 1-cost cards back in their hand so they can play it and get an extra card draw most of the time, but it could be relevant in a couple situations. And then also in your if this card's in your drop area, you can activate it by paying its energy cost and then removing it and 1 blue card from your hand from game. And then if you activate this card, you can activate all too easy for duration of the turn. So being able to play this card, pretty much turn any card in your hand into a negate is, generically powerful. I'm not sure if it's better than being able to play negates for free with, energy wise. I think energy is way less flexible than cards in your hand. So, but I could see these seeing some play, but just not a lot of play. Maybe 1 or 2, but I still think like Whis' Coercions is better. Just being able to untap 1 is great and all that. But maybe we'll start seeing these negates if people will start, just playing a lot of TN and that kind of stuff. So I'm okay with these. I'm not super excited about them. Let's see, Betrayal of the Master. So this is kind of like what family Kamehameha family. Yeah, I think it's that one. I think it's its name. So choose one of your opponent's battle cards at any cost greater than or equal to your opponent's energy. Return it to your opponent's hand. So instead of KOing it, you just return it to hand, which is generically worse in my opinion, but still just some removal for blue for 1 for cheap. I think it's great, and that can do a lot. Let's see, KO Timid Sister. So this card can't be KO'd by your opponent's skill. That's obnoxious in a lot of ways, especially since this is how you go into a lot of your evolve targets and stuff. Like you can, you'll see it later, but I think that's just really good that you have to like actually either put in rest and KO it, or I think you can KO it by putting it to like to 0 power as well, because that's not a skill, that's a game mechanic. I don't know. I'm not sure how they decided to change that with Broly, but I think you can do that. But also, when you play this card, choose up to 1 blue or yellow Universe 6 card in your drop area with energy cost 3 or more and add it to your hand. So, boom, you get like another +1 too, which is great. Sengoku Bloodline, Saiyan Bloodline Sengoku. So when you play this card, look at the top 3 cards from your deck, choose up to 1 blue or yellow Saiyan among them, add them to your hand, then place the remaining cards deck and at the bottom of any order. This card's just generically good. It's a good blue Goku for blue Goku stuff, but it's not. It's just a tutor, and I think this is a bit old. We don't really use these tutor cards anymore, but maybe he could be important. So next up, Trunks Fighting the Darkness. When you play this card, you choose 1 card in your hand, place in your drop area. If you do, choose up to 1 yellow Super Saiyan blue Vegeta, and that is specifically a card with that name. So there's literally only 1 card with that. With an energy cost of 2 and up to 1 Super Saiyan Blue Son Goku the Sweeper from your deck, add them to your hand and shuffle your deck. So being able to go +1 on specific cards you need, this helps out the Vegeta leader because it makes sure these cards are in your hand to do your super duper play. Okay card, but nothing too good. So next up we've got Whis the Regulator. This is kind of like that, Baby Pan? It's just choose 1 card in your hand, place in your drop area, draw 1. So it offers some cycle, but it doesn't offer a +1. So that's okay. It's good for getting cards that you need into the drop area, but nothing too crazy there. Balmus Thing for a while. When you come with this card during your turn, you choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards at any cost 3 or less, return it to their hand. This can be good too. If you're able to, it's a 1 cost too. Dang. I mean, I think that's fair, but I don't know. I don't like putting cards back in your opponent's hand is usually worse than just leaving it on the field a lot of the time. So, but we'll see how it goes. Then there's Goku Black, Evil's Accomplice. Active main is to deflect. Active main, choose 1 card in your deck, or choose 1 card in your hand, place in your drop area, choose up to 1 master replication from your deck and activate it and shuffle your deck, which is this guy. I'm going to skip a couple. So, permanent. So it's a field spell. Permanent. Shadow tokens in your battle area can attack and gain, but they gain blockers. So that's a pretty fair trade. And also, once per turn, when you play a Son Goku Black in your battle area, if your leader card is Goku Black or Zamasu, then you can play 1 shadow token. So being able to get a shadow token a turn, pretty much just as long as you play Goku Black, is fine. There are a lot of cheap Goku Blacks once you get into later energy because they just play for free from there. So I think it's a really good defensive card, and also the tokens have combo power too, so they're really good for just like generically being really defensive. I think it's a good card, and it really helps the archetype. So I'm not sure if it's enough, but it's definitely gonna do that. So here's the Sweeper Goku card that you get for free from Trunks. When you play this card, you may choose one card in your life at your hand. If you choose it to one of your opponent's battle card with energy cost 4 or less, and then return it to your opponent's hand. So there we go. So I think that just the Self Awakening is better than the return, to be honest. So it's just being able to do that. Trunks of Sweeper, when you play this card, choose to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 2 or less, ignoring barrier, return it to its hand. That's good. It's not great, but it's goodish. And then also the fact that it's Trunks, you can maybe. I always, who knows how they're gonna do the like the Go Tanks, or not Go Tanks. Go Tanks. Sorry, Go Tanks. There's just so much stuff for. There's just every time they make new Trunks and Go Tank cards, you gotta keep going back and saying, is this all these cards they released a year ago? Are they broken yet? They're probably not, but just another card for that archetype, I guess, as well. You're wide open, so if your leader card is blue, if your battle card your opponent is playing has an energy cost 4 or less, return it to the owner's hand instead of being played. I think this is pretty good. We'll be seeing a lot of these counter spells. Being able to just use 2 energy to negate an attack and also like stop your opponent's 2, 3, or 4 energy is great. The fact that Mass Killer Zone's gone and also Battering, there's a lot for that. I'd say in some situations they might be trying to play something from their deck or from their graveyard or from their discard pile. So the fact that it's put back in their hand can be kind of annoying because they still kind of +1 a little bit. But I don't know. Like this is almost strictly worse in a lot of situations to other decks, other cards that just KO stuff. But I think it's better than nothing. And if you have any kind of control deck, I think you got to put this in it. Next up, Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, Inviting the Darkness, a barrier. When you play this card and your lead card is Goku Black or Zamasu, add the top card from your deck to your energy. Already just a fantastic effect, which just pretty much says, oh, guess what? This is actually a 2 cost, and then also you get some ramp with it. Like, that's just really good. And then also when you play this card, if your leader card is Goku Black or Zamasu card, at the end of your opponent's deck's turn, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. If that card is a battle card, place the opponent's energy in rest mode. Otherwise, draw 1 card and then shuffle your opponent's deck. There's a lot of layers for that one. In general, it's mostly good. Giving your opponent energy is somewhat bad, but being able to ramp up for your win condition by just if they have 8 or more energy, just getting able to hit 8 or hit 4 of them. So I think that's good. This is a good card for getting to it. It's not the best card for it, but it's okay. The fact that it's not guaranteed energy too is kind of obnoxious. I understand why they do it, because you don't want to be able to hit a Dragon Ball and then just be like, oh, I can't awaken for the rest of the game because my Dragon Ball's in my energy. But I think this is a great card. Just the fact that it ramps itself is fine. So there's that, and then we've got Undying Spirit Son Gohan. Counterplay. Play this card if a multicolored card is in your energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. When you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with any cost of 4 or less and return it to his owner's hand. Then if it's your opponent's turn, choose one of your blue energy and switch to active mode. I think this card is good. It's probably not the best of all of these. I think every color got one of these 3 drops that counterplay and multicolor reduction, but I think a lot of these cards are good. The fact that they're able to KO something or not KO, but return to hand is great. And then also untapping 1 is okay. So it pretty much makes this a one energy thing as long as you have 2 energy open. So that's pretty good. The big difference between these two is that if you play this guy, the auto still goes off for the card that's played, and this guy you don't. But it's also not a battle card. You don't get the body, and you also can't combo with it. So I really like that there's these 2 ways of like there's a more absolute version of it, and then there's also the more flexible version, but it's not as powerful in some situations. So all of that's really good, and I like it. So all right, vanilla Vados for people who don't have the Saiyaman from the star deck in case. Goku Black the Replicator. So when you play this card, your leader card is Goku Black or Zamasu. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, place it in your opponent's energy in rest mode, then play 1 shadow token. And then if your opponent has 3 or less energy, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. If it's a battle card, place it in your opponent's energy in rest mode. Otherwise, draw 1 card and your opponent shuffles their deck. So this can potentially put 2 cards in your opponent's energy. Is that a good thing? I don't know. It seems like a really bad thing if you're not winning the turn you do it, to be honest. But It seems okay. It's some hard removal, and then also if Master Replication's out when you play this, you get 2 tokens with blockers, so that's pretty good. I just don't know how I feel about this. I feel like a lot of decks right now depend on just getting to a certain energy, and then they just win from it. So if you just kind of help your opponent get there and not win until afterwards, then you're just making the game a little bit easier for him. So that's kind of my current stance on these, but I could be proven wrong. Next up, we've got Kale, Sister of Annihilation. So for 1 blue energy, you can evolve on a Kale with a cost of 1. And when a card evolves in this card, you may choose all of your battle cards other than this card placed in the drop area. If you do so, choose all of your opponent's battle cards at any cost of 4 or less, return them to your owner's hand. This one is okay, but I think the choice Kale is this one over here. So it's critical during your turn at the end of battle. After you combo this card, choose up to 1 blue Kale in your battle area play on top of it. So for essentially it's the same thing. 1 energy that's also not specific. You get to evolve it onto it. You get critical, and then also when you play this card, choose to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode. Negate that skill for the duration of the turn and return it to its owner's hand. So being able to just hard remove, and also like I think if you do it like on a green Broly, even though you remove it from a battle area, the skills are negated, so they can't activate its abilities from there. So really interesting counter card in that regard, but I think this card's cool. And then I think I already went over this. I think this one's not so good, so we're going to just keep it like that. Almighty Do-Over Zeno, so deflect. When you play this card, choose all battle cards, return them to the owner's deck. Then all players who return cards to their deck shuffle their deck. So this is like a worse, Zeno. You can't chain attack it out. You can't cheat it out in any regard. And its effect is somewhat worse, especially unless your opponent just dumps their hand onto the board and you've got somewhat of a hand. This is just worse in so many ways, but I think that's the point, and there we go. They figured it out. So, and then there's Super Saiyan 2 Trunks Memories of the Past Double Strike. Only one of these guys can be in play in your battle area. When you come with this card from energy area using another card that we'll come up to next, play this card at the end of battle. So being able to cheat this guy out and have a big old double strike is nice. And also when you play this card, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 card in your hand and add it to your energy. So being able to just add more energy is fantastic. There's a lot of ways. There's a big reason why this is really important, and we'll go into that when we look at the yellow cards, which is right now. So yellow is going to be Universe 6, Zamasu, and it's pretty much the same archetypes, really. So first we got Kaba, just draw 1. Cool, you did it, Kaba. Welcome to the team. Next up we've got Cleef of the Bold Sister. It's kind of like that Kale. It's permanent, can't be KO'd by your opponent's skills, which is super annoying when you want to evolve into this guy. Like, it's better than Barrier in a lot of ways. But when you play this card, look at the top 5 cards from at the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 blue or yellow Universe 6 card among them, add them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So something that I guess gets around these guys is also anything that warps, like Fu or Mass Saiyan. Mass Saiyan can just really destroy both of them for 1 energy, and that feels real good. But yeah, I think these cards are still good, and just the fact that they also replace themselves, like it's a 1 energy, it's a card you want in the field anyways, but they also search and replace themselves in your hand because they look as top 5 for cards. So all of that. Restraint. Let's see. So this is the same thing as the other ones. Negate the attack. Then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards at any cost of 1 or less. Switch to rest mode. That's all right, but not super good. But I don't know why they have it as 1 energy as the thing. I think 2 would probably be okay, but that's okay. Just like Shocking Death Ball just does so much, and like Time Magic and like After Image, I feel like they can do so much better than these, but and they can be played for free too, so they just seem like worse negates. Let's see, Weak Spot Protection. If your leader card is Universe 6, it gains plus 10k power for duration of the turn, then draw 1. So it's just a super combo for your leader, which we've seen those cards before, and they're not really good, and I don't expect them to be. Botamo super combo just for yellow. So you've got Kaba, Undisguised Rage, so it's a blocker revenge for 2. That can be cool, especially since there's a lot of ways to summon stuff from your deck, like summon Universe 6 things during your opponent's turn. Being able to play this, and then they have this blocker revenge they have to deal with, is non-trivial. And then there's Frost, the path to full power. When you this is one of the... Did we not do that for blue? Oh, we forgot to go back. I missed like 2 cards. Good thing they're the super combo and then just the generic Janemba hate. So both colors got these, or all colors got these, except for black. I don't think black got one, but when you come with this card from your if you combo with this card and your later card is yellow, you may choose one card from your hand, place in your drop area. If you do choose one, you can choose 3 battle cards with energy cost 3 or more, empowered 35k or less in your drop area, place them on your deck in any order, and then or you can choose one battle card in your opponent's drop area, return it to your opponent's deck, then the opponent shuffles your deck. So all of these you have to go like -2, which kind of sucks. Like it's like -1.5 since you're comboing with a card. So if the combo really matters, that's good. But you get to put stuff back in your deck. It's pretty specific what it is, and you can't hit most super combos, and you can't hit any secret rares. So they made it important for that, just so you can't recycle those cards. But if you're literally just milling yourself too much and you need some more cards in your deck against the mill matchup, these are really good for that, and that's about it. So there's that. Next we've got Hidden Ambitions Amasu. So this is indestructible, barrier deflect, dang, a lot of those things. And when you play this card, choose to 1 blue Goku Black with an energy cost of 2 or less from your hand and play it. So being able to just use 2 energy and summon 2 things is good. So there we go. Hit After Image Master. So auto, when you play this card from your hand, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hands and sends it to their warp. Already just like good. Like warp is way better than hand 99% of the time unless you're playing against Toa. And then active main, send this card to his owner's warp at the start of your next main phase. If your later card is yellow, Universe 6, play this card that was sent to the warp by the skill in its owner's battle area. So being able to just for free send this card back is fantastic. The fact that it does something when you play it. So unfortunately it's played from your hand, so when it comes back you don't get to do another warp. That'd be super duper good. But there's no cost for sending this to the warp, unlike other variants of this, so that's great. And then there might be a hit in the future that you want to evolve into, so maybe we'll see about that. So next up, Kefla's Fury. Counterplay, if your leader card is yellow, draw 2 cards. Yeah, this time yellow kind of got screwed. I feel like this 2-drop yellow counterplay just does like nothing. I mean, yellow's been like the one who's gotten the most counterplay, so it makes sense that they got the stinky one. But with Cold Bloodless at 1 and everything, this doesn't do too much to negate play. Just like a Pot of Greed with more conditions is just silly for also 2 energy. I've been seeing people say like, oh, you can use Mecha Frieza and then for free you get to draw 2 cards, and then you use the life too, so you use 3. And I could see that being like the niche condition, but I don't see this being played in anything else right now. So next up we've got another super combo. This one is specifically for Universe 6 cards, or Universe 6 leaders, and your life is at 5 or less. Draw 1 and then it gets plus 10k power. So neat there. Next up, Namekian partner Purina. So auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 Cyanel from your deck, add to your hand, then shuffle it. And then this Cyanel finds the Purina. So they're kind of like the gadget archetype, just being able to find another card out of it. I think that's cool. I think we need more yellow Namekians for some reason. There's maybe I haven't looked at the Dende stuff for a while, the yellow Dende for non-Frieza stuff. So, but maybe there's something there. Let's see. Saiyan Bloodline Vegeta. When this card attacks the top 2 cards from your deck, choose up to 1 blue or yellow Saiyan among them, add them to your hand, then place the remaining cards in your drop area. I think these cards, I think Bandai's learned their lesson about the, gaining advantage every time a card draws, gaining advantage every time a card attacks. So I think this is really fair, being able to find Saiyan cards, which is still like a huge pool. So they made it blue and yellow Saiyans, but top 2 I think is really easy, and I don't think it's ridiculous, but that is quite a restraint there. Here's the new vanilla Vegeta, which is great in so many ways. Just the fact that you can now use it for blue yellow Gogeta was already a thing, and I'm not talking about Vegeta, I'm talking about Gogeta, the 7-drop. So just being able to have more yellow cards for the deck is fantastic. And then also for the the Vegito deck too, that's the thing. And then also is color, it's skillless, so which has a lot of synergy. So it's interesting like how good like this playing card just existing can do a lot. So there's that. Next up is Amasu the Mastermind. So blocker, if there's Goku Black in your battle or your leader area, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. That's kind of neat. Champa the Trickster. So Counterplay if a multicolor card is in your energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. When you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barriers, switch to rest mode, then draw 1 card if it's your opponent's turn. This card is great in a lot of ways. Being able of the like these multicolor counterplays, I think this one's one of the better ones. Just being able to put it into rest and also drawing a card, and then also ignoring barrier. I think that's the biggest thing. Mostly, I mean, all the counterplays that stop it from playing, doesn't, it gets around barrier, but instead this gets around barrier and deflects. So there's some shenanigans there. A lot of potential, but I think like this is kind of like Mutaido with extra steps though sometimes. So I think Mutaido's still better far and away, but I think there are some examples where this can be a little bit better and at least more affordable, right? So there's that, but just kind of a more generic form of Mutaido. I think Mutaido's better. Next up, Zero Mortals plans. So this is a desire for some reason, but I think it's neat. Choose one Zamasu card in your battle area without indestructible. Place in your owner's drop area. Choose up to one Zamasu card in your hand with indestructible and energy cost of 4 or less and play it. So immediately from this set, you just play. Does it say specifically 2 cost? Yeah, just 1 without. So you just play this blocker for free, and then you go into this 4-drop here. So. And I'm just going to skip here for a sec. So indestructible, permanent battle cards chosen with this card's skill cannot be switched to active mode, which is a really good effect. And when you play this card, choose up 2 Saiyans, Earthlings, and or God cards in your opponent's battle. You're switching to rest mode. I don't know why they made such a specific thing. I mean, that's like, I'd say that's over half the cards in the game, but I think it's a little bit of an annoying restriction. I don't really think like there's a lore reason for it. I mean, he puts those, like, he attacks those guys, but like doesn't mean like his powers are limited to it. I don't know. I can rant on it, but really interesting there. I don't know. I think it should just be everything, but it's not. So whatever. Next up, so Khalifa. So this is kind of like that 4-drop blue Kale. So double strike during your turn at the end of battle. After you combo with this card, choose it to one of your yellow Khalifa cards in your battle area and place it on top of it. And then also when you play this card, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards or energy and switch it to rest mode. So the idea is that you can play this first, switch it, put it into rest mode, and then after that use Kale, and then Kale will put it back into your opponent's hand. So just being able to do some like cute combos there, I think is nice. All that. We also have this other 4-drop Khalifa. If you're playing 6 or more cards in rest mode, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. Ooh, I don't think it's good. Next up is Ironclad Defense Frost. So blocker during your opponent's turn at the end of battle. After you combo this card, choose to one yellow Frost card in your battle area and play this card on top of it, then switch this card to active mode. There is literally 1 yellow Frost, and it's this guy, which I don't think we'll be playing anyways. So I think that's right. Let me make sure. I don't think there's any other Frost that are yellow. Maybe there'll be more in the future, but unless I guess you could just stack Frost on Frost. I guess that can be kind of good, but I don't think it's super good. Yeah, 1 yellow Frost. So you could play this for 2, and then for 1 you can combo with this, and then put to untap it, and then you can block something. You can make it survive by comboing another Ironclad Defense Frost, and then I don't know. It seems silly. They just I don't know why they had that. They just need a better Frost, to be honest. So I don't know why they just made it like the generic no hate card for this, but there's that. I already went over this Khalifa or Kefla. I think this is one of the better ones, but I don't think Mono Yellow Universe 6 should be a deck, so it just should be splashed into something else. Because especially since half the cards are blue, so you can't. There's some synergies you can't have, which is kind of dumb. I don't think there's even there's no yellow Kale, right? I don't think there is. Let me make sure. Maybe there's one in like the new expansion, not the expansion set, the expert decks. Nope, there's literally not. There's not a yellow Kale, so that's dumb. But maybe there'll be one someday. And then lastly, hit Pride of Universe 6. This is one of the, I think, the cooler cards. It definitely got my attention, and I think a lot of other people. So EX Evolve for 2 yellow energy and 1 colorless. Dual attack. Universe 6, Bond 2. When a card evolves into this card, if your leader card is a yellow Universe 6 card, and you have 4 more energy, flip your opponent's leader to the front. If you do, the opponent can't activate their leader's awakened skill until the end of their next turn. So being able to shut down an opponent's leader like that is fantastic. You have to pretty much finish them this next turn though, because then like if they have like a draw 2 leader, then they can just draw 2 at the end of their next turn and then just gain a lot of value back, right? So there's a lot of like give and take, unless you're hashtag Bojack rip, but I think that's still a really cool effect. And then also you get to summon something for 3 because you, with your leader's effect, assuming you're using that one, which you really should be using. And then also activate Warp's turn, choose up to one of your opponent's battle card, negates its skills for duration of the turn, and send it to the owner's warp. At the end of your opponent's next turn, play the card sent to warp by the skill from the warp in its owner's battle area in rest mode. Whew. So you pretty much get rid of a card for 2 turns, and then it comes back in rest mode too. So it's like the OG like Mafuba ruling, which is just essentially KOs them. There's no way if you play this, you pretty much are ending the game in the next turn or 2. So just being able to KO it pretty much, and also negate its skills when doing it. So cool card. Hopefully getting to 4 energy isn't too much, and maybe we'll see play. So and lastly, we'll look at the multicolor cards. So I think I already said this, but every color, like the dual colors, got these cool energy exhausts. That this card is both. If there's a card that's both blue and yellow in your energy area, other than this card, negate this card's energy exhaust skill in all areas. So that's really good. Just being able to do that, being able to stack once you charge 1 blue yellow, being able to stack them from there, I think is great. And also, when you play this card, just draw 1 card. So it does something on summon too. So you're never like totally screwed out of it, but yeah, there's that. Next up, we've got Chomp and Vados Gresusade. So it's a rival for 1 yellow. You combo a blue, at least 1 blue card and at least 1 yellow card, and you can just play this for 1. I think this card is obnoxious in so many ways. So it's permanent reduced cost of all blue and yellow Universe 6 cards in your hand by 1. If you didn't notice, a lot of those KOs all the Kel and Khalifa cards that are like 4 cost or more, and also the hits, they're all 10k combos, but then they're just for free, and then that just feels really, really good. And then if this card is removed from a battle area by an opponent's skill, you may choose 1 card in your hand, place in your drop area instead. If you do, this card remains in the battle area. Switch it to rest mode, then choose up to 1 of your energy, switch it to rest mode. Or 1 of your opponent's energy, switch it to rest mode. So it just has like this really weird way of saying like it's gonna be hard. You're gonna have a hard time KOing this, and you gotta like make sure you really want to. But I think it just pretty much the idea is you just play this card and then it just sits there for the rest of the game because your opponent can't remove it without losing an energy, and then also it comes back, so they have to like remove it twice. It's just super obnoxious, and I think this card is super duper good. So and it's a super rare too, which is obnoxious. Next up, we've got Fuse Zamasu the Cunning. You get the attack, then play this card. Also, this is a 4-drop Zamasu with Indestructible, so I think you can play it off that one thing. And then also counter if you drop a blue or yellow or a blue and yellow card. Choose 2 of your energy, switch in active mode, so that's nice. I don't know. I don't think I really like Aegis that much, but it's a thing you can do. And then permanent, if your leader card is Zamasu in your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost in this hand by 1. Or by 2, so being able to just play this as a counterattack for 2, and then just have its like Aegis stuff being active, and this is a Zamasu that's indestructible and all that other stuff. So there's all that. Next up, we've got Kefla, the Peak of Perfection, rival for blue and yellow for a yellow. When you combo with this card, if your leader card is Universe 6 and it's your opponent's turn, you may choose 1 of your opponent's energy, switch to rest mode. If you do, you can activate auto scales from this card for duration of the turn. So, which means that you can play the second auto first and then do the first auto later. But being able to just combo, if you have like this 4-drop jump, but just being able to tap your opponent's energy for free during the battle phase is just really dumb. I don't know. I'm not a super big fan of all this energy tapping shenanigans. I think there's going to be a lot of like, the idea is just get hold up on energy and go from there. I don't think it's a good mechanic. We'll see if it's abusive, but coming into it, I'm not super excited. I don't think it's good for the game. And then also, when you play this card during your turn, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode, then negate the skills, the battle card skills until the end of your opponent's next turn. So that can be really obnoxious too. Just being able to use this to like hit like a Borgos or like a Whis or something like that. Also, like it could be like just be like a blocker card. I don't know. This card does a lot, and I think it can be really good. So. we got 3 more. So we've got Meteoric Energy Kefla. For it's a unit Patora for yellow, 1 yellow on the 4-drop variants of the Kale and Khalifa. It has barrier active, so Aegis, once again blue yellow. And when this card activates Aegis, choose up to 3 of your opponent's energy, switches to rest mode. So, yeah, so you pretty much just tell your opponent, hey, you better play all the stuff you want right in front, because once you do your first attack, you lose you lose 3 energy, and that's really, really good. So just being able to tap your opponent like that just for swinging can be good. So there's that. I think it's not too bad because you can play around it. It just can make things awkward. Fuse Zamasu, Divine Providence. It's Unit Patora for 6 energy with 4 of them blue, 2 of them yellow, on top of a blue Goku Black and yellow Zamasu. That is asking for a heck of a lot, but when you play this card with you, your opponent reveals their hand, and you choose up to 2 cards from it, add them to their energy in rest mode. So that's really good, though. That's a pretty good effect, being able to just choose 2 of their cards and get rid of them permanently. They cannot get them back if they're in their energy, so that feels like a really good thing to do. And then if they happen to be at 6 energy when you do that, then you can use your leader skill and go from there. So I think this card's really good. It's just going to see if we can get to 6 energy with all these cards out. But if you can consistently pull this guy off, I think it's a good card. So, and lastly, let me bring up the secret rare for the blue and yellow. All right, here's the blue yellow secret rare. So triple strike, ultimate, energy exhaust, permanent. If your opponent has 6 or more energy or has 6 or more cards in rest mode, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3. And then when you play this card, choose up to 4 of your opponent's energy or 4 of your opponent's cards, switch to rest mode, then draw 4 cards. So long story short, I don't think this card is super great. I think the permanent to get it out is just a little bit too steep. Sure, you can play this on turn 5, and to be honest, I think the best deck this could be in is a Zamasu ramp deck. The fact that you can either get your opponent to 6 or more energy super easily, or the fact that you can just, since you keep giving them energy and you can put in rest mode and all that, there's a big chance that they will have 6 cards in rest mode. That's a lot of cards to be put in rest. Let's say, like, assuming they have their leader, and it's specifically your opponents too. It's not both sides of the field. So let's say you have your opponent's leader, like 3 energy, and then they have to have like 2 more battle cards. Like that's still, I think, is a really steep cost to account for. And then once they do that, they probably have most of their cards tapped out. So being able to choose 4 of their cards and tap them again, I think it's asking for a little bit much already. So and then it's just a big beat stick also. Not to like knock it, I think in general I think this card is a win more card, and it just doesn't. I just don't like its condition to come out. I don't think it makes any sense for any of these decks except for Zamasu. The other two, Kefla is just like a really aggro deck, and so the idea for any of these conditions probably won't exist. And Vegito is kind of like a more control-y deck. Oh, did I even go over that? I don't feel like I did. No, I definitely did not. I'm a goofus. So this is Union Patora for 4. So assume on turn 4 you activate your Vegito's lead and get your Goku and Vegeta out, and then you can bring this guy out. Barrier and Exhaust. When this card attacks, your opponent has 3 or more energy. Choose up to 3 or yellow battle cards from your energy area and combo with them. So that's a really steep cost. But then also when you combo with the battle card using this card's skill, and if you have and your card's blue, and if you have 3 or more battle cards in your combo area, choose all of your opponent's battle cards and energy, switch to the rest mode, and those can't be switched to active mode during your opponent's next charge phase. So that's pretty good. Just the fact that they'll be at essentially 1 energy next turn, and they can't swing with anything, including their leader. So that does a lot. It does what? Does it choose all of them? Yeah, so it does choose all of them, but still, if you go first, then your opponent can't do Goku, Path to High to Mastery, just because they won't have energy to untap. So there's that, and then but the cost for you is that you're going to be down to 1 energy yourself. Sure, you have this big 30k beat stick, but you have to make sure that you can really go in and capitalize on it. So a lot of give and take. I think this card can be really good, but it is a really interesting effect, and I would be interested to see how it really works out. So and there's some synergy with um, this guy too. So then you can have 2 energy, right? So if you only have one of these, you can only play one of them when you combo this card from your energy using the Super Saiyan Blue. Play this card at the end of battle, so you got a 30k double strike, and then also when you play this card, you're on 1, and then you choose up to 1 card in your hand and add to your energy. So now you're at 2, and then you go on your next turn, so now you have 3 energy. So that's fine, but it's not 5 energy, right? You simply can't play it afterwards, which I think is good because that would be a really broken combo if you could. But it just you don't have enough energy to play this guy anymore. And then at the end of your turn, your opponent can untap everything, and then it's just like, oh, cool, they can't. I'm done with, right? So unless like you just put like more energy for, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it's just gonna be really hard to get this card out. And once it comes out, I just feel like that 5 energy could have just been done for a lot more things. So that's my stance. Hope I'm wrong if I pull it. Hope I'm right if I don't pull it. I think that's gonna be it. So I think I've reviewed all the cards. You probably already have all your own opinions on these cards, anyways. So you're the real MVP to making it this far. I think that's gonna be it for me. So let me know what you guys think about these cards. Let me know what I got drastically wrong, what combos I missed with certain cards, and yeah, I'll catch you all next time.